New alarm bells ringing tonight on the coronavirus outbreak in this country.
Doctors say the virus is spread through droplets when someone coughs or sneezes.
And I think the business community, it's in their interest that people actually stay home and stop the spread.
For a business that can allow more employees to telecommute, we want you to do that.
Hi, friends. I'm Andy Paul, host of the Sales Enablement Podcast, and I want to encourage you to listen to my brand new special 6-part podcast miniseries titled Selling with Purpose. The team behind Sales Enablement Podcast and I put together this incredible series of inspiring conversations exploring what it means to sell with a mission greater than just hitting your numbers in this era of COVID-19 and beyond. So tune in to hear from world-class enterprise sales leaders and learn how their 6 companies will close $50 billion selling remotely. See how they've supported essential workers with the products and services they need to stay safe and thrive during this time of crisis. Subscribe to Selling with a Purpose now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Guided selling from RingDNA makes your entire sales team more effective by revealing exactly what reps should do and when to do it. Guided selling works by transforming sales data into a curated list of prioritized sales actions. So when reps start their day, they'll never again wonder which prospects and accounts or hot inbound leads to reach out to next. Guided selling even shifts reps' priority in response to real-time buying signals. Finally, even new reps can sell like seasoned ones. Let RingDNA be your guide to success. Learn more at ringdna.com/guided selling. That's ringdna.com/guided selling. It's time to accelerate. Hey friends, this is Andy. Welcome to episode 687 of Accelerate, the sales podcast of record. Now I have a fun show lined up for you today. Joining me is Nate Regier. Nate is author of a book titled Conflict Without Casualties, a field guide for leading with compassionate accountability, as well as he's the CEO of Enablement Consulting. And today we're going to be talking about conflict and managing conflict, because this is an interesting topic, because in the interaction between buyers and sellers, this is really a breeding ground for conflict. So among the topics Nate and I are going to tackle today, we're going to talk about why conflict is that gap between what your buyer wants and what they are experiencing at any point in time. Or, turning the tables, it's conflict is the gap between what you as a seller want and what you're experiencing at any point in time, and how to use compassionate methods to solve those. We'll also talk about how to discern more quickly and effectively what the gaps are that the buyer and seller have, and how they can work together to close them. So there's lots of really interesting information here, a really different perspective on working with your buyers. So before we get to Nate, I just want to take a minute here to talk to you about the Sales House. Sales House is your home for B2B sales education and development. The Sales House, if you join, you're going to get the confidence you need to take on any challenge in sales, as well as acquire the knowledge, the wisdom, and the advice you need to effectively qualify and close your best sales opportunities. As a member, you get unlimited access to me with multiple coaching calls every week to help you close deals. You get unlimited access to a growing library of short sales courses. We call them the 9-Minute Sales Academy. Help you learn and master essential sales skills. Get access to a roster of world-class experts who are sharing their expertise in our weekly live workshops. And you get access to the rest of the Sales House community, a community of like-minded sales professionals that you can tap for advice. Sales is a tough profession. The good news is, though, you don't have to sell alone. You can succeed. We can help you. Come invest a few minutes a day in the Sales House. Visit thesaleshouse.com or thesaleshouse.com/join. We look forward to seeing you in the house. All right, here we go. Nate Regier, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here. So you're joining us from Kansas today, right?
We're in steamy, hot Kansas, just north of Wichita. I think it's going to reach about 95 today with about 70% humidity.
Now, isn't that part of Kansas, isn't that sort of like Tornado Alley?
It is, and we've had some pretty good storms here in the last few months.
Yike! Yeah, I'd make sure I had a basement nearby.
It seems that this year's tornadoes have been transferred into hailstorms in Colorado. I don't know.
Oh,
We're getting spared, but there's a ton of damage west of us.
yeah. I have a good friend who posted on Facebook from Colorado after a hailstorm. It looked like it had snowed. He showed a picture of his porch. I mean, it almost looked about a half inch to an inch of hail on his porch.
Yeah.
Yeah, wild stuff. Yeah, hopefully your car's not parked outside when that happens, because that I remember my father, after he had bought a new Cadillac, that he was so proud of, and then was driving cross country with my mom, and in Colorado they got caught in this major hailstorm, and it looked like somebody had taken an ice pick and just throughout every top facing surface of his car was.
Oh no! Oh man! Yeah, those are something else to be in a storm like that.
Yeah, well, I think he had like 2,000 miles on the car. So anyway, yeah. Well, good. Well, let's jump right into it. We're going to talk some about conflict, and you've written a book titled "Conflict Without Casualties: A Field Guide for Leading with Compassionate Accountability." Now, and so explain what compassionate accountability is. I mean, I think that's an interesting term.
Well, yeah, it is an interesting term, and it's two words you wouldn't expect to go together. That's part of the reason why we developed it. Mm-hmm. When people think of conflict, they usually want to run away. Most people have had pretty negative associations with it. And so if we're going to take that energy that's generated by this gap between what we want and what we're experiencing and do something with it, we have to have a mechanism or a tool or a process to play with that electricity, so to speak, without getting hurt. And compassionate accountability is the framework for that says, we can simultaneously care about people, preserve their dignity, practice kindness, and also pay attention to results, because at the end of the day, we have stuff to get done. We come together as teams, we must perform, we must deliver to stay in business. And putting those two together seems difficult, but it's the challenge that we've been trying to solve with this book.
Well, I thought there was an interesting sort of sales application to this is because you'd written that, and I'm just going to quote this, actually came from, I think, from one of your blogs, but it was that conflict at the most basic level is simply a gap between what we want and what we are experiencing at any point in time. And to me, that really sort of exemplifies sales. I mean, if you get an objection from a buyer, that's basically what they're feeling, right? They're sitting in the meeting going, wow, this isn't going, I'm not getting out of this what I wanted. Right? Or this meeting isn't going the way that I expected it would be. And so the buyer experiences at odds with what their expectations were going into it. And one of the ways this can surface is as an objection, or not even an objection, just as a meeting ending, a relationship ending meeting. And I thought, salespeople don't think about this oftentimes, that they think of objection and they take it defensively, right? This is criticizing me, and not really thinking about, think about I think what you're saying is the angst that the buyer is feeling at that point in time because they're conflicted.
Yeah. And very often there's a ton of gaps happening at any given time in the sales process. And what we've been using this model for in sales is to try to discern quicker and more effectively what really is the gap here. And what gap are we trying to close? What gap are they trying to close? And how can we start aligning those gaps so that we're working together, struggling together to close the gap? And very often, I remember a mentor of mine when I was a psychologist. By the way, I'm in recovery, so
no longer a practicing psychologist. Yeah.
Yeah, he said, if you're working harder than your client, then something's wrong here. And I get thinking, wow, how do we need to change this so that we are both struggling together to close this gap? And then what I realized as a therapist finally was that people don't come to us because they want to change. They come because they want the pain to go away. And so if we misidentify the gap and don't get connected with what is it that they're trying to accomplish, it's really, we can be at odds and experience all this resistance and what we call objections and things. So this model it can have a lot of applications for that.
Yeah, no, I think it's really important for anybody whether it's a salesperson or any type of relationship in business or even personal life is this is a situation that occurs, right? Is in any conversation. It doesn't have to be at any particular stage of the sales process. is the potential for this gap to occur is pretty strong, right? And I think where the salespeople oftentimes miss is they don't, whether it's empathy or compassion, as you talk about, is they don't try to look at it through the eyes of the buyer. And again,
they don't. And in our model called the compassion cycle, we're very clear. Our research and our experience has shown very clearly that starting at openness is the most effective way to start dealing with this gap. And openness can be empathy and understanding and really trying to get in the shoes of the customer, or it could be a type of openness where the salesperson discloses their motives and discloses their agenda and says very clearly what they want, so that very quickly it's not a game, but rather a journey together.
Well, yeah, and so that which is a great suggestion, because one of the key pillars of trust is, are you transparent in your motivations, right? As can the buyer see that? I have this little acronym I call MICE for building trust. It's motives, integrity, competence, and execution. Excuse me, but the first pillar of trust is if you're not transparent in your motivations, customers sense that, and as soon as they sense that first bit of discord about that, it's very, very difficult. And so being upfront about what your motivations are and being consistent with them, which is where the integrity comes in, being consistent through the path of your conversations with the buyer, absolutely essential.
Yeah. I just was on 2 sales calls back to back before this, and it's so fascinating how much drama is lurking at the edges all the time. And we define drama as whether we're playing one of 3 roles, where either we're the persecutor saying, hey, everyone else is the problem. Maybe we're playing the victim where we're saying, I'm always the problem. Or we might be playing the rescuer saying, hey, I'm the solution to everyone's problems. And I found the invitation. The client was playing the victim saying, I don't want to do, I need this, what's this? And it was such a strong invitation for me to come in with the answer and get attached to an outcome that would serve me. Mm-hmm. And it would have been very easy to do that in the short term. And at first, I think she was sort of frustrated that I didn't go there and kept disclosing my motive, that my goal is to help you get what you want and for you to be successful and to figure out if what we have to offer is a great fit for you and your passions. That's why I keep asking you questions about your life, and why I'm kind of sidestepping all the quick, easy answers about how much does it cost and when do I come and all of that. I say, because I don't even know if that's right for you. And when she finally calmed down and engaged, it was such a wonderful conversation about working together to close that gap.
Yeah, well, I'm not the only one who's talked about the fact that sales is like therapy, in the sense that people may say they want the answers, but they really doesn't serve them to give them the answers. It serves to keep asking questions, help them uncover the answers themselves.
So it's easy to get sideways with prospects and with customers, easy to get into these different drama roles. We might assume the role of the persecutor and decide, everyone else is the problem. Mm-hmm. Sometimes our customers come to us saying that, or maybe we assume the role of the victim and say, I'm always the problem. I need to do anything, compromise, do whatever it takes to please people. Or maybe we play the role of the rescuer and adopt the attitude that, I'm the solution to everyone's problems. Right. And it's easy sometimes in sales to try to do that, particularly if the prospect or customer is pretty excited about what we have to offer.
But I think one of the things you talked about that to me was I don't know, it sort of spoke to me in a way, is that you say that you can spend your time and money on the one who promises to make the pain go away, or you can spend it on those who offer a path for change and transformation. And that really is a stark choice in sales, because I think that it's really a mistake to dwell on people's pain, and much more appropriate in sales, much more effective, and certainly has been for me over the course of my career, is to help people understand what it is they want to accomplish in their life. And so there's got an investment required, whether it's a monetary investment, or in the case you talk about, what could be with a therapist, it's a monetary and a time investment. But it's that investment that I think, people want the pain to go away, but they also see a future, right? And if you spend all your time trying to cure the pain, you're not going to end up doing business with them.
Not at all. And if we're not careful up front, we can fall into that trap of providing quick solutions, and it feels good at first and promising things. And it's a vicious trap. And customers and prospects even that are also investing time and energy in that relationship, and we're coaching and training them that that we're working together. It's a two-way street to get what we want.
Mm-hmm.
I think they feel much better about the end result as well, because they've got skin in the game. They've participated. They don't feel like they've been given anything, but they truly have. It hurts so good, so to speak.
Yeah.
Things that we work for and participate in are so much more rewarding, and we have so much ownership over that solution.
Exactly right. So this gets to this idea of, and I've come down hard on it, is if you're being trained as a salesperson to say to your prospect, well, where's your pain point? It's like, that's yesterday's news, right? They may still be feeling pain, but that's yesterday's news, and they're not engaging you to go put a Band-Aid on the pain. They want the change and the transformation. I mean, it's nice to make the pain go away, but because people want to manage the pain, but they also want to know the pain's not going to come back.
Yeah. Well, and we've kind of taken that idea of pain can come in lots of forms. It could come in the consequences I'm experiencing. It could come in how I'm actually feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay to identify it, but then we move quickly to saying, where do you want to be? How do you want to feel? And it's very interesting when you ask people, not, we want our metrics to be here. We want our sales to be here. We want this much traffic. We want, and then I ask them, and when that happens, how will you feel?
Right.
What emotional end state are you striving for? Because even if we get all those things and you don't feel any different, we haven't succeeded. And maybe there's different ways to get to that place that you want to feel. But if we don't talk about that, we're not rowing in the same direction, and we're chasing mirages the whole time. And so that's a way of creating the gap or identifying the gap. And I love this idea of salespeople being problem identifiers rather than problem solvers. I think it's kind of...
Yeah, I mean, ultimately you are. I mean, that really... the solution comes through identifying the problem.
Right.
I mean, if you think about the whole context of like the challenger sale, that's such a big thing, is really fundamentally what you're doing is redefining what their problem is, helping them look at it differently. So that is problem identification. If you don't identify it appropriately, it can't be solved. So, right. Or somebody else can solve it more than you. All right, so let's jump into sort of final thing is what's the one thing today that we can leave people with that they can put to use quickly?
One thing, if the thing that has been most effective for our clients and most effective for us in our relationships with customers is this mantra of always, always, always hold on to this belief that us and our customers are worthwhile, we're capable, and we're accountable. And don't ever drop any one of those three. In every interaction, every day, act as if those are true and work to manifest those. And if you do that, things will turn out okay. Worthwhile,
Capable, accountable. I love it. So, yeah, I'm just thinking of the context, because if you're in with a sales situation, that's as you said, it's a two-way street. You both have. Yeah, you both. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. I'm having such a hard time, but I was sort of thinking fast because it was good. But I mean, you both have those three principles apply to both sides of the equation.
Absolutely, and that's why the word "we" comes. If I ever stop believing that my customer is worthwhile or that I'm worthwhile, some weird things can start happening in how we conduct ourselves. If I don't believe they're accountable, then I will take on way too much responsibility. If I don't believe I'm accountable, I won't own up to my promises and my part of the relationship. If I don't believe they're capable, then I won't ever give them opportunities to try and fail and learn and grow and ask me really hard questions.
Well, and the worthwhile is one that I'll come back to for a second, just because this speaks to sort of the inherent biases that we all have in life, and we judge. And there was a great book you may have read called Blind Spot: The Hidden Biases of Good People. Fantastic book. I recommend people read. But just says that the way that we perceive people, sometimes we don't have control over that initially. We think that we're we're free of biases, and we're really not. And I'm not talking about some of the conventional biases we talk about. Certainly those are present, but even things more subtle, and really understanding that those can exist, have an impact on your perception of somebody as being worthwhile. So you really need to learn how to suspend these biases.
Yeah. And search for that, and search for how will this relationship and how will their engagement with us enhance their belief in their ability that they're worthwhile, and how will they feel more worthwhile as a result of it.
Love it. Love it. Well, good. Well, Nate, thank you very much for joining me today. Tell folks how they can find out more about your book or connect with you.
Thank you, Andy. It's been a pleasure. And my book, Conflict Without Casualties, A Field Guide for Leading with Compassionate Accountability, is available off our website, next-element.com, or on Amazon or any other of the major booksellers.
And if they want to connect with you?
If they want to connect with me, nextelement.com is my website, or you can email me directly at nate@next-element.com.
Perfect. All right. Well, Nate, enjoy the rest of your summer, and hopefully it cools down for you. And we'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Okay, friends, that was Accelerate for the week. First of all, I want to thank you for joining me. And I want to thank my guest, Nate Regier, for joining us as well. Come back next week as I welcome my friend Tibor Shanto to Accelerate. Tibor and I are going to be talking about objective-based selling. Before you go, don't forget to check out the Sales House. It's your all-in-one sales learning, coaching, mentoring, and development accelerator just for B2B sellers like you. Visit thesaleshouse.com. All right, thanks again for joining me. Until next week, I'm your host, Andy Paul. Good selling, everyone. RingDNA is the leading sales enablement platform that uses AI to help scale business growth. Trusted by the top companies across the globe, RingDNA offers a suite of powerful tools for every sales role. The RingDNA Dialer radically improves sales productivity and call connection rates, while guided selling helps reps know exactly what to do and when to do it. Conversation AI uses artificial intelligence to surface the most impactful coaching opportunities in real time. So, no matter where your team is working from, the RingDNA platform can help them exponentially increase call connections, opportunities, and revenue. Learn more at ringdna.com/platform. That's ringdna.com/platform.